𝗍𝗶𝗱𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗂𝗍𝗶𝗱𝗃.com, where we teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. If you'd like to support my show and get help growing your houseplants, check out my Patreon below. Today I am going to do a pruning video, which was suggested by Connie Munoz, a viewer, and she had asked about pruning her goldfish plant. So I'm going to show you some tips for pruning goldfish plant. This is a plant that does need a little pruning. There's some different issues going on with it, so I'm going to go ahead and work on that. One really good thing about pruning your goldfish plant is you have a better chance of it flowering for you. You also need to do other things to get it to flower as well, including fertilize. And I do have a care video on this plant that I will link below, as well as any other videos I mention in this video. Right now, as mentioned, we're going to focus on pruning this lovely goldfish plant. Okay, so first thing you want to do when you are looking to prune is to look for any dead and dying foliage. So I see some here that I am going to go ahead and prune out. So you see I found it here, and I am going to go all the way down to right beside the stem there and to get rid of it. You don't want to do it halfway or anything like that, because it's just going to continue to die back. You want this dead and dying foliage away from the plant. One reason is it attracts pests and diseases. Another reason is that the plant, there may be a little bit of green still left in that dead or dying foliage, especially dying, and the plant will put energy into that rather than putting energy into growing new healthy growth and flowering, right? Okay, so we look for any areas like that. So here's another one. When you cut, you want to cut close to the stem, but you don't want to make sure you don't cut into the stem. However, you don't want to leave long pieces. Same concept as what I just talked about, leaving those long pieces. The plant's putting energy into that, and eventually it'll slough off on its own, but you waste a lot of time doing that, because when you do this, when you cut things close to the stem, you cut near what are known as stem nodes, and those are little bumps on the plant. So get closer, if I can get closer here to show you. Those are little bumps on the plant, all these bumps along the plant here, those are stem nodes. And when you cut right above or right below a stem, right above a stem node, what happens is plant auxins, the auxins, which are growth hormones, will be released after you cut, and that will create more leaves at that point. So that's why you want to cut close, but not cut into the stem itself, because then that can harm the stem and invite in pests and diseases. Okay, so I'm going to go back out a little bit here. Go back to the pruning. Okay, so we've got more dead here. I'm cutting back to the stem there. Okay, here's another one. Now another thing you want to look for is kind of like things that aren't that healthy looking. This stem is not that healthy looking. It's droopy. It's actually kind of bent here. So I am going to go ahead and cut it down all the way to the base of the plant. It's just not a healthy stem, and that way the plant can put energy into the healthier stems. Okay, so going through, taking out, like I mentioned, any dead and dying stuff. Sometimes it takes a little bit of looking around. Another thing too is, you notice with this one, it's missing leaves along it. So that's another thing that doesn't necessarily look good. You want more leaves along the stem, so that would be another reason why to get rid of some of them. Here's another dead one. I'm going to prune it all the way back there. And here's one as well that was dead or dying. Here's another kind of droopy one, so I don't know, I'll hold on to that for the moment. Now, when you are pruning back a houseplant, more dead there, you want to not prune at one pruning more than 1/3 of the plant. If you do, you could set the plant up for shock because it's just too much, and then it could die. Additionally, keep in mind, you don't want to cut back too much up here because you've got a lot of root down here that's supporting up here, and you're going to get root dieback when you cut back too much up here, and then you can end up with even root rot because you end up with too much soil down here. And I do have a video on that as well that I will link. Okay, so I'm checking here to make sure if the plant is easy to lift it up, turn it around, check it out, look for any other areas that you've missed. Here I have something here that I just noted that I've now lost. No, here it is. Okay, so another thing to cut back, or actually kind of came off, but there's going to cut that back all the way. So okay, so we got that taken care of. So as you can see, it's looking really, really good here in terms of me getting out the dead and dying stuff. Okay, so now we're going to focus on what do we do. Oops, I take that back. I just found another piece, and that will happen as you think you've got it all, and then all of a sudden you don't. So there we go. Okay. Now I'm going to look at this plant in terms of, okay, shape. So shaping, you want to shape it. You want to have a really pleasant shape to whatever plant you are pruning. And with the goldfish plant, you really kind of want the vines to be a similar length, and also what you want to do is be cutting back to stem nodes so that you can get bushier growth. So you'll see here, like there's bushy growth here. There's 2, 3 stems there. That occurred the last time I cut because I cut back to the stem node. You can see where I cut back here, cut back to there, and then new growth came from there. So, and then any leaves that are yellowing, take those off as well. So that's what'll happen when you do cut 2 stem nodes and you cut back. You're going to get this double branching, which is much more pleasant than just these long flowing vines. You are going to have some of that, but you want to try to make it bushier and as I said, make it more uniform. So what you can do is lift it up and look and think like, okay, well this one's a lot longer than the other ones here. Also, there's a lot of leaf loss along here. So if I cut back even potentially to here, right here, they're right about here, and this is right above a stem node. I'm going to get rid of that extra long, getting it a little more uniform as mentioned, and also where I cut it, it's going to create another branch very close to the other branch so that it's going to become bushier. Okay, so there we did that. You can also look for areas where it's kind of like crumpled over or weirdly growing and get those out as well if they just any unsightly. Now this here, so you've got the 2 here, right? So two pieces here, but another thing you can do to try to get even more growth is to cut right above. Now either you're cutting right above the stem node if it's just blank, or cutting right above a set of 2 leaves. So which I just did here, this set of two leaves. Now you can see I cut to just above this set of 2 leaves. This is going to cause more growth here. It may even cause a double growth sort of a thing going on there. More chances too, as mentioned, of flowering when you do this. So that's another place. So when you are pruning any house plant, you want to go slowly. You want to cut, you want to check it out, you want to cut some more, you want to check it out. You don't want to go like crazy, and then it's like giving a haircut. You don't just randomly start whacking away, right? You keeping in mind that yes, your hair will grow back, just like yes, the plant will grow back. Well, the problem is sometimes the plant will grow back strangely because of how you cut it, depending on where you cut it. As mentioned, you can also put the plant into shock. So you want to be judicious. You want to just go slowly and then keep going until you feel like you've done enough. So these are very healthy, as you can see, ones here. I don't know necessarily that they need it. However, to stimulate some more growth, I'm going to go ahead and cut this one right above a leaf. And that'll just a little bit off of that one to give it a little more, those auxins will come in and give it some more growth. So just a little dead thing here I'm getting rid of. Okay, so continuing to go here, looking at it, you can look at it in the front, and you know, this plant too. Okay, so I'm not real impressed with this. I'm going to go ahead and cut back to right there. They get some more growth in there, and this is a double one too, so which is good. So just keep going, and you want to, as mentioned, just make it as uniform as possible. Now this one is kind of growing front, not a lot on the back. Part of that problem is where it was sitting for lighting, so I needed to turn it more. It is under full spectrum lighting, but it was getting a little bit more light in the front than in the back, so I'm going to make sure to turn it. And you can see some new growth here. Now this new growth here is short and very thick, so we're going to leave that alone. What we're looking for, as you probably notice, is the ones that are thinner and kind of so cutting back those a bit. There, got that one out of there. Now I'm going to look and see how it's shaping up. I found another little piece of something that's not living anymore. So you can see how it is shaping up, looking a little more uniform. Okay, this plant is a bit on the rangy side. A lot of times this plant, goldfish plant, does that, so it just depends. And also too, these are nice hanging basket plants, so you do kind of want that flow, right? So there you go for that. I just found here, this is just an empty stem like I was talking about, so I'm going to cut that back to the other, where the other part that is actually growing is. Okay, so that gives you a good idea. We've got a fair amount that we pruned off. I would say we've probably cut maybe close to a little bit over a quarter, so I won't want to be pruning back much more. But you know, pick it up, see if you like that you can see now there's not any real longer ones that are kind of hanging down too long and kind of not, this one's a little long but not too bad, but none that are doing that too much. This one here potentially, but it is coming off of this grouping here which has 3, so I don't know that I will do that one, but let's see, and this here, another dead part. So even just getting that part out is so important. It will really help. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. You've gotten a good idea there of what you're doing. And like I said, I wouldn't go much further with this plant, but it could potentially be pruned back a bit more. Thank you for stopping by today. Please leave any comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And please check the bell if you'd like to be notified when new videos are released.